does, yeah. There's a little girl down there. Sweet little girl. Mustn't forget the little girl. Happy 50 years of Tarana station, train station, and Tarana village, and all the markets. 150 years of Tarana. A little girl down the bottom. Little girl.
You forget the codes. Yeah. Always play.
And is that drone yours?
Thank you. Yeah, but it's not going to Oxford.
Hey, g'day, John. G'day, mate. How you going? Okay, cool.
Oh, yes, I see you off the screen.
Oh, pardon me.
So, Graham Barner, Tarana, elders past, present and emerging, and welcome all other Aboriginal nations that may be in attendance today, and welcome dignitaries as well as you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you, Adrian. Now, formally, can we welcome Paul Toole, who's our Deputy Premier and also the local member for Bathurst for us. Howard Collins, who's the Chief Operating Officer of Transport New South Wales. Mari Statham, who's the Mayor of Lithgow, and Mark Kelman, the Mayor of Oberon Council. And I think the driver on the train today was Alex Classens, who's the State Secretary for the Rail, Tram, Bus Union, and got the train here eventually, given some fun at Radlar here. And to everybody else, welcome. To start off, I'm going to ask Richard Webb, who's one of our locals, to give you just a couple of minutes of his memories of Tarana Station back in the day. Where's Richard? We've lost him.
Thank you very much. It's very gratifying to see so many people turn up. Everybody loves rail. I think it's tremendous. But I'm not going to speak for long. I was at Tarana School here in 1945 to 1950. And I think I got a better education here than anywhere else. There were 32 kids here when I was here with one teacher, and he was fantastic. He was an Englishman, that's beside the point. This was a big marsing yard years ago. I think, I don't know whether anybody around here now can call me a liar, but I can say a lot of things that probably people don't know, but it was a big marsing yard. There was trains here. I remember when there was sometimes 3 trains backed off here, and they weren't the long trains that they are now, but there was wheat trains, stock trains, a tremendous lot of stock went out of here. There was a very good trucking yards down there, well maintained, and everybody used to sometimes drive stock into here, sheep and cattle. They used to go to Homebush or used to go to Bathurst for a Wednesday sale, but Homebush was Mondays and Thursdays, and we used to have to load here on Sundays to send them to Sydney. Now, the stock trains used to come through here, and they picked them up at 3 in the afternoons. We had to have stock in here 6 miles away, from 6 miles away, to load them in time to get on the train to go to Sydney. There were some fairly big places around here then. There was, oh well, Cameron was I think 4,500 acres. I think Guion was probably 3. And there were several others, 2,000 acres, but that's all changed now, as you can all see. But there was a tremendous lot of stuff came away from Tarana, and Oban was one of the things that contributed to that, because the Oban train used to come down here. It'd bring pig props that Cotton Brothers used to cut in Oban. and that used to have to go through to Broken Hill, and there was a lot of trucks. The old Oban train was only a very small engine, a 19 class engine, but it did absolute wonders. Sometimes it would do 3 trips a day when the crossbred ewes had to go to, they came down from Narromine, they'd have to load them back up to Oban on the Monday morning. And then she'd come down, do a normal train halfway through the day, and go back at night to pick up the peas when the pea season was on. And peas were one of the big things. They used to send about 4 louvered vans from Oban just about every night of the pea season, and they bring them down here, picked up by the pea train and go through to Oban. It was a big thing. There was a lot of wool loaded from here. Some of the wool used to come through from well the other side of Oban at Paling Yards, and they used to bring it here because it was they couldn't take it to Goulburn because of the Abercrombie River. It was too hard to get wool down. And so they used to come through here. And there was a lot of wool loaded here. That was one of the wool loading stages. There was a big stage further down, and the goods shed was further down. It was a big goods shed, and people don't realise that now. But it was a very busy place at one stage. There was an ash pit there where they used to ash the locomotives going to Sydney, with a big water tower, signals on both ends of the platform here. You can see what signalling was here by the levers in the signal box there. It was a big signal box. A lot of fettlers here. There was a flying gang that they used to call a flying gang. They were all in tents from the station here out to where the road goes under the viaduct there. And I'd say there was 10 or 15 tents there, and the flying gang used to live there. A lot of fettlers used to live along below the station here. They were all houses. And the railway staff used to live down there. Bede Wiles, and I don't know whether anybody here would remember him, he was a marvellous man. He used to run the whole show. And if you didn't do it properly, it was good night nurse, you had it. Because you used to have to stack wool exactly as it was right. You had to cover it so that the tarp used to come over the back tarp, so it was going to Sydney, tarp wouldn't blow off. All those sort of things. But he was a fantastic man. He ran the railways here for a long time. Mr. Ty, I don't know what his first name was, he was the station master. He lived here when I went to school. He was fantastic. They used to let the kids in there to sometimes pull a signal if we were prompted well, if we did the job right. And he'd let them in there and we'd pull a signal, we think we were Christmas. But in those days, a lot of the signals then were by kerosene lights. They didn't have the electricity. And well, I can't tell you much more. You're probably bored to death, but I'm talking about the stock part of it. It was a big thing. There was a lot. It was sale yards. Tarana sale yards were just up here, just above the fire shed. And there was a lot of stock went through there. A chap by the name of Mr. Claude Toole, who was a big dealer, he used to always be having stock sales there. And they'd come in here on the train, and he'd sell them, and they'd go out on the train. And it was the only way then, because we used to think the trucks were big then, but if they had 4 metres of tray, that was about it. And we thought they were big trucks. But now, you see what they are now, it's completely different. And there was no stock frame, no frames on a lot of the trucks. They all had to go by rail or drove in. There was no other way. So that's about it, but I know it was a very, very busy place, and people look at you and you think, silly old so-and-so, he doesn't know what he's talking about. But it is right. There was a lot of trains through here, and they were backed up both sides sometimes. And somebody in their wisdom pulled out the other line here, I don't know who it was, but we know some people at Blaney who used to run the container system from there and sludge from the gold mines out the other side. And they said this was the biggest bottleneck on the Western Line when they pulled the second railway line out. Anyway, thanks very much for you.
Thank you, Tim. To the Deputy Premier Paul Toole and to Howard from the I was going to say State Rail, Transport New South Wales, and to all the officials today, welcome. It's a great morning, and there are some councillors here today. I don't know whether they're still here or gone up to the markets, but anyway, to everybody here today, you're all officially having probably a wonderful time, because it's a very special day today for Tarana. I think that the Lithgow Council are participating in a working relationship with Tarana Community Group, and we're now building facilities so that the people can be able to use them, the tourists and the locals. And I think Tarana is about like a little balloon, it's about to burst. We have lots of people so enthusiastic about, you know, competing for a stall at the markets. And I think that we can see Tarana growing into a destination, actually. So I think today's a stepping stone to something very big in Tarana. And to the community group at Tarana, Tim and his fellow members, congratulations for all the work that you have done. You've done an enormous amount of work in the last 2 years that I've personally witnessed, and I would like to thank them for all that energy and the volunteering that they have put in to make today such a success. And to everyone that's been, yes, well, a big clap for the Tarana community group. Thank you. When my late husband was in hospital, I went to relocate and live in Sydney, and every week I would come home on the train. We had a drought in 2007. I would feed the stock and go back on the train. Just in that 14 years, how the trains have changed. Now I come home on the XPT occasionally, or go to Sydney on the XPT. You can actually get on now and use your iPad and do some work, and you're not worried about the dreadful traffic and parking. And quite often I catch the bullet train, which I think a lot of people here today would have caught the bullet train. You can get in the quiet carriage, do all your work, you get to Sydney and you're fresh. So, you know, I do applaud the improvements in the rail, and I would like to encourage everyone here today to have a train trip. So today is a special day. In 1872, the train station opened, and look where we've come today. So I think the memories today will go on for a very long time. With the amount of photographers here today, they'll be able to collate a museum of photographs, I'm sure. But anyway, welcome, have a lovely day, have a lovely lunch, and enjoy Tarana. Thank you.
Mary, thank you so much. And then can I now introduce Howard Collins, who's the Chief Operating Officer of Transport New South Wales. And from the community point of view, thank him and his team for the work that's being done on this station. Howard.
Good morning, everyone. Just present and the Aboriginal people here today. What a great occasion. The last time I was here, I was freezing to death in August 2020, I think, when the team took me round this station, which was falling down. It was leaking, it had rot, you couldn't walk on half the floorboards because they were falling through. We've started. I think it's important to recognise I and my team share the same passion as this community does in making sure these absolute community centres have a future and they don't end up under the bulldozer or swept away for some other reason. We're bringing back to life 150 years, I think, of fantastic history, and what a great story we heard from our local man. I'm learning the Australian language as I'm a new Australian. I've only been Australian 2 years. I am an Englishman as well, but I understand it's Tarana, that na thing. So I'm learning that, I'm practicing it as I speak. The line opened 22nd of April 1872, so 150 years and a couple of days. Not only to Tarana, but to Loxley as well, which I think was the end of the line, and we must obviously acknowledge Loxley. The existing building was built in 1872 and was extended in 1880, so even those days they were doing some renovations. You know, this really is a fantastic opportunity, and I want to thank a few people. Whilst bricks and mortar are important, it's the people behind that which are probably even more important. So New South Wales Train Link and those staff who are here today, thanks very much for welcoming us as your station. But importantly, do you like the new picket fence? Isn't it fantastic? Ryan, somewhere here, Ryan, the picket fence man, is here. Thank him as well, done a great job. Because before it was a horrible colour bond fence, wasn't it? It was really grotty. And I'm hoping, once we do a little bit of remedial work to the grass in that area, that's where the market's going to be in the future, hopefully. Also, I want to thank Ben, my signalling guru manager. Ben, when he has his day job, he's working on high-tech computer signalling around the Sydney Trains network, but he also, on his weekends with his apprentices, has fixed up the signal box here, and also all the interlocking. So if you want to have a look at the signal box, have a look at it later. And finally, obviously, Eamon, my project manager, who's been working 16 hours a day. Eamon, thank you very much for all the hard work which you've done as well. LVR, Lachlan Valley Railway, great to see. Former Dubbo train driver Phil Smith, with the white hat. I nearly brought my white hat today, but Phil brought the train in. We did try and deal with a few trespassers on the way, but we haven't fitted machine guns on the front yet, so we haven't got to the ability to clear the path. But anyhow, and I think somewhere is driver Classens as well. And hopefully Alex and I will be working together to sort out the pay deal for this year. Good man. The other issue is, obviously, I want to say, you know, community. It's only as good as you, the local community, get involved. We have obviously some thoughts and ideas, but I wanted to allow Paul to talk about that, Paul Toole, because I really value your input. Without your inspiration, sometimes nagging, incessant emails and everything else, but it works because we actually respect what you are trying to do. Regional New South Wales for us is a destination. It's a place you can get to by rail. And there were 89 people going to Dubbo this morning on the XPT and over 80 people on this train as well. It's almost doubled the number of people, I think, probably in this little place. But it's great to see. We really are keen to work on the interiors. It's unrestored at the moment. We're working through all the interesting features of no sort of watertight roofs and chimneys, and we've fixed all those. Now we've got to work on the interiors. So on behalf of Transport for New South Wales and my team and those people who have been involved with this, I want to say thank you to the community. And I think I'm handing back to you because we've got our final speaker who's going to talk about the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Harold. Thanks for putting in on this. It's going to be a fantastic asset. Can I introduce now our Deputy Premier and local member, Paul Toole, who's here somewhere.
Thanks, Tim. And can I firstly just say, isn't it wonderful to be here? Because everyone that is here today, you are a part of history. I mean, we are celebrating 150 years of railway here, right where we're standing now. So to actually celebrate that is an important occasion. And I always say to communities, we should never forget where we come from. We should never forget our history, because that actually ensures that we know where we're heading as a future in an area as well. Could I also just say thank you to Howard Collins, the Chief Operating Officer. It's great to have Howard here, and Howard, you know, is also quite busy, but he's also made time to ensure that he's here in Tarana today for this very important milestone. And I think that just goes to show the significance of today's actual event. We've got Mayor Marie Statham, we've got Mayor Mark Kellam from Oberon here as well. We've got councillors from Lithgow and Oberon as well that are present. And you as the community, I say to you, you're all of our dignitaries as well as a part of today's event. So welcome to everybody here. To Tim and to the Tarana Valley Community Group, thank you for the preparations and the work that you've also done in putting on today's important event. But when we talk about this railway station, I want to talk about how it was actually extended. As Howard said, it was extended from Rydal and it came out to Tarana and it came out to Loxley 150 years ago. And when it was extended, I think you can actually then go back and listen to the stories, you know, that Richard shared. And when you've got a local identity like Richard Webb, you know, you can actually hear of the importance of rail here in this community. But so are a lot of our regional towns and a lot of our regional communities. And it's quite surprising at the moment that I seem to be going to these celebrations where schools are turning 150 years. I've got, you know, Ralston last night I was up there, 200 years of colonisation. And here we are at Tarana again celebrating 150 years. So it just shows you that off the back of even the railway network, a lot of our communities developed in that way. When I'm standing here today though, I think, you know, this is about restoring the Tarana station. I mean, it's a beautiful building. I think Howard and myself and Andrew and members of the community and council, we've all been down here on many occasions. And can I say that this building probably 5 years ago was in pretty sad condition. It looked pretty run down, and I think, you know, it could have been left to sort of go to rack and ruin and, you know, become this very distasteful building here in the community. But we actually got together and said, let's do something about it. And that's exactly what we are doing. You've only got to walk into the building right behind me, and that's the signal box. And that signal box has been restored and it's been brought back to its former glory. And again, if you're going to grab any of those levers in there, you've got to work out the sequencing, because it's not that simple. There is a sequence that you actually have to follow to actually bring the levers forward and back as well. But I think that's an example of exactly what we want to do here at this station. Whilst we've improved the exterior, I think you can actually go to the door just over here on my right. Have a look inside that door. Okay, you'll actually look in that room, and you'll see that the walls are flaking. The roof itself is in need of repair. But that's exactly the next stage. Okay, so as part of the grand design that we've got for this facility, it is going to do work. It's going to work on the interior of the building. But we also know that with the Bathurst Bullet that's been rolled out, and that's been so important because that's actually meant that this station has become alive. So more people are coming down here, they're using the station. We've got the coach service now that comes from Oberon to here as well. So this is about making sure that not Tarana, but the whole region is benefiting from that stop that we're seeing. But the next phase that we're going to be working on right now is actually, as part of the grand design, is to actually fix the waiting room, because we all know it's pretty cold in winter here when you're standing down here. So we're going to fix the waiting room and we're going to fix the toilets, and that's going to be done by the end of the first quarter of next year. So that's really important as well. So can I just finally just finish up by saying thank you for being here. Thank you for those that have actually come along the train as well, to our drivers, and also to Transport for New South Wales. I just want to say to the team from Transport for New South Wales and Sydney Trains, you guys are giving up your weekend to be here, but also being a part of this important milestone here in the community. Well done, everybody, and thanks for having me here.
And God bless.
As Paul said, please take time to have a look at the restored signal box. My understanding it's about one of 4 only in its original condition. And as Paul says, you can view from the outside the rooms there which are not yet safe to go into. As a community group, we continue to work with both our community and with Transport New South Wales on the repurposing of the station building, which is going to be a fantastic asset as a community hub. As Howard mentioned, the line went through to Loxley from Rydal, and our friends at Loxley have got a display over there, so please go and have a look at their memorabilia. They're also, when the celebrations here are all done, we're going to go back to Loxley, and if anybody wants to go up there and have a look at what is left of their station, the station master's house, and other memorabilia, they're very happy to show you around that. Please enjoy. I think there's maybe some sandwiches left and some non-alcoholic cider. Thank you to the band and the con, fantastic music. And please, serving Devonshire teas on the train if you want to get scones and etc. tea or coffee on the train, but also please walk up to our famous Tarana market. Today it's a lunchtime market, so there are more food options than normal, and because we've got a license, you'll be able to buy a glass of your favourite tipple, beer or wine or cider. And there was something else I was going to say. And from personal note, can I also thank the members of our committee, because we work hard to try and do things for this community, and today I think is one example of what we achieved when we put our minds to things. So thank you very much, enjoy the day, and what I'll ask Paul to do, we have a birthday cake. And
a few people up here. Adrian Williams, representing the Aboriginal culture in the area.
Mariella, turn it around.
turn it around so you can...
happy birthday, everyone?
Yep.
1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Tarana. Away. Hip hip. Hip hip. Hip hip. For he's a yeah, we are.
Thank you, everybody. Back to the music.
Well done.